It is so wonderful to see all of you here. Every first Saturday of October, I get to stand here and to be with all of you, and sometimes I wonder just how I ever got quite that lucky. And what a wonderful night it has already been. Just the stories in that video. Actually, the people who helped to make that video possible, the stars of the video, they're all here, I believe, tonight. Would you stand for a moment, please? Eduardo, MJ, Chris, and of course, our very own Olga. Thank you all for making that possible and sharing your stories. And speaking of making things possible, would all the members of Horizon's Board of Directors please stand for a moment? Each of you. Every one of you makes tremendous contributions to the foundation and to our community, and you do it as volunteers. Please know that your contributions, all of your gifts, that they are so much seen and they are so deeply appreciated by me and by the community around you. And now my staff colleagues, and yeah, even the shyer ones among us, please stand up for a moment. I can't see you all, but I'll find out. Please stand up. You come to work. You come to work every day, and you do tremendous things. And you do them with such love of our community, and you do them with class. And so Junie, Jovial, Terry, Tara, Nicole, Scott, Anthony, Deb, Francisco, and John, thank you for what you do every day. And Gavin and Jewel, where even to begin? Thank you for helping us to see new visions. Thank you for helping to break down doors that were there before us. And in a time when words like hero and shero and heroine tend to get thrown around a lot, thank you both for being the real things. You know, I don't know about you, but the world feels an awful lot like it's on fire right now. And it's not just because of those terrible wildfires we've been seeing over the last couple of years, but, well, how could it be otherwise when we are about to be seated on the U.S. Supreme Court, the second man credibly accused of sexual assault or sexual harassment? This is like a national day of disgrace. And this nation's political and cultural fires seem to get stoked more and more every day, and we see fires that are sparked by resentment and racism and misogyny and xenophobia and greed, and so many of them are sparked by our very own arsonist-in-chief. Yes, it can feel a lot like the country itself is burning. And in our own community, people are also afraid, yes, even right here in our blessed Bay Area bubble. Horizons did a little research not too long ago, and what that research showed is that more than twice as many people in the community, and this is pre-Kavanaugh, more than twice as many of us in our community feared that what we're going through marks a major historical reversal, rather than just a bump in the historical road. You know, I really wish it were otherwise. I really, really do, but we have got reason to be worried. And God knows we've got reason to be outraged. And yet at the same time, through all of that smoke, I see something else. I see 1,000 people battling the flames. I see people of great heart who are refusing to let those flames just roll over us. I see people long kept at the margins of our society and of our community. Trans people, people of color, poor people, women, stepping forward, and I see them claiming leadership. I see women of surpassing courage. I see them saying, "Me too," and at grave personal risk, at last holding at least some men to account. And I see young people, queer and otherwise, from Parkland, Florida, all the way to Oakland, California, who are standing up and saying no to violence. And I see the brilliance of the plans and the strategies and the ideas of all the community nonprofit organizations serving our community. And I see the impact. I see the impact of what it is that Horizons has the great privilege of funding. Like our recent grant, the one that Chris and Olga talked about in the video, trying to make sure that some of the most vulnerable people in our community can be gotten out of immigration detention. Or like our grant to the RISE Center, to make sure that there are life-changing, often life-saving programs available for queer youth enrichment. Or our grant for Latinx families to Somos Familia, or to the Black Immigrant Justice Coalition, or to the Black Immigrant Justice Coalition to serve a part of our community that is often overlooked, to the Rainbow Community Center to serve thousands of people out in Contra Costa County, to the Queer Cultural Center to promote the arts in our community, and so many more. In the North Bay, the South Bay, the East Bay, San Francisco, the Peninsula, and beyond. And Horizons is able to make these grants, and scores of others. We can work in so many ways to try to keep the flames away from our community for one reason and one reason only. And that's because of the generosity of people like you. And it is truly an honor to stand here before you and to be able to say, on behalf of Horizons, thank you. Thank you. Over the summer, over the past couple of months, both of my parents passed away. 51 days apart. They lived good, full, happy, and really fairly long lives. I know that many of you here in this room know what it feels like to lose someone deeply loved. The past tense can be awfully hard to get used to. This time has been difficult, and I am eternally grateful for all of the many kindnesses with which so many in this room have graced me and Royce. I share this with you tonight not to eulogize my mother and dad, nor in search of sympathy. I share it because this moment has made me think. It has made me think hard about what it is that really counts. What really counts in this life? What really counts in this world? What in the end, when all of our suns have risen and all of our moons have set, after all of our hopes and dreams and disappointments and joys and tragedies, after all of that lies behind us, what really counts? Now, there are, of course, 100 things that any of us could say would count and that count to us. It could be our faith. It could be a piece of art. It could be art itself. It could be that glass of Hafner Cabernet. It could be even your memories of last weekend's Folsom Street Fair. We're a great community, you know? But as I've reflected in these recent, very trying weeks, a handful of things have risen to the top. Family counts. Whether it's by blood or by choice, or both, family counts. Friends count. Friends count. Of course, for many of us, our friends are our families. In fact, to see one of the true glories of our community, one of the ways in which we have truly changed this world, look no further than our families and our friends. Friends count. Community counts. Now, community is what you get when people join together for really any other reason beyond self-interest alone. In fact, community that's worthy of the name, at least, is always greater than the sum of its parts, because community encompasses and it exceeds any one of us. And everybody here, all of you, we are part of a community that's been born out of courage and hope, out of resistance and struggle, and out of dancing and joy. A community that we have raised up over centuries of hurts and lies and jails and closets. A community of which, for all of its many flaws, a community of which we can all be immensely proud. Community counts. The fight counts. So long as humanity remains unperfected, and God knows from the vantage point of today, that looks like it's a long time coming, there is always a fight. And as LGBT people, we are still fighting for the freedom and the equality of every LGBTQ person, be they in the Bay Area, across the country, or across the globe. Now, for some of us, that time of equality has largely arrived. Those flames seem pretty far away from our own houses. But that's not true for all of us. And the fight worth fighting, the only fight that is worth fighting is the one in which nobody gets left behind. That is the fight. And even that is not the whole fight. Because the fight is also against racism. It is the fight against sexism, against xenophobia, against gross inequality. The fight is simultaneously many different fights, and it is the one great fight. It is the ancient and forever fight for justice and for simple, sacred human dignity. Family, friends, community, and the fight. These count. And they weave in intricate and infinite ways through each one of our lives. And as I have thought about these four over recent days, it has become clear to me that in the end, they all lead to a single question. Were we there? Were we there? And that question then points to the final item on my short list of some of the things that count, and that is legacy. Legacy counts. What marks do we leave behind with our family and our friends? And what of our legacy for our community? Did we help to make it strong? Did we help to move it even a little bit closer to what Horizon's vision describes as a world in which every LGBTQ person can live a life of pride, dignity, justice, and joy? The legacy of every one of us that each of us has, and the one grand collective legacy that we can leave to future generations, well, that's been at the heart of the Now and Forever campaign since the very beginning. The campaign has been about taking our strength, taking our connectedness, taking all that we have learned and won and built, and paying it forward. The campaign has been about making real a revolutionary vision of the very first LGBTQ community anywhere in the world that is providing for its future generations. And as Bill, Susan, Joyce, and Scott just shared a few minutes ago, Horizons has made spectacular progress toward our goal of identifying an unheard of $100 million in future gifts. And that progress could only be happening. It could only be happening because there are people of great heart who are stepping up and they are saying, count me in. Count me in. And I cannot find words to describe just how profound, how thrilling that progress is, or what it says about our community. You see, I believe that there's something that is deeply human, and it's a very good thing, but there's something deeply human about being giving with those that we're closest to, and very often people who are quite a lot like ourselves. But there is something not just profoundly human, but that is noble. That is noble about giving to those whom we do not know, be those in the next neighborhood, the next town, the next country, or the next generation, and the generation after that, and the one after that, and all of the generations that follow. Were we there? When for each of us, for you, for me, when it all comes full circle, and when all that is to be said has been said, and all that is to be finished has been finished, if someone were to ask you, were you there? Were you there for your family, for your friends, and for your community? Were you there when the fires were burning? Were you there for the fight? Were you there side by side, arm in arm with your brothers and sisters? And when your story is told, will the storyteller be able to say, oh, yes, yes, she was there. Yes, yes, they were there. Yes, yes, of course, yes, he was there. And for all of you here tonight, such great friends of the foundation, such champions for our community, never doubt that if anyone ever asks you now or any day that question, that you can say, yes, yes, I was there. Your support for Horizons, your support for our community, your greatness of heart, for you knowing what really counts, please know that no one will ever be able to question that, yes, you were there. And for every time that you picked up a bucket against the flames, I thank you. For every time that you put your hand up, that you volunteered, that you said, yes, yes, count on me, and you went to the line, I thank you. For every time that you raised your hand again, and that you helped to lay the bricks of our rebuilding, I thank you. For your kindness to each other, for your generosity to the world, for every time that you have given and given again and again and again, and for your readiness to fight, until everybody is free. Thank you, thank you, thank you.